Hi there guys, I hope you are having a good day. Put the kettle on and let's talk some boxing. Now we got to see some footage of Tyson Fury doing some sparring. It was a body spar and I believe he is working towards that date for Anthony Joshua. I believe that Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury should know something by now because it was supposed to be confirmed by the end of this week. Now I don't know whether we are going to get the announcement or whether the fighters and the promoters will just know. But clearly, because Eddie Hearn has explained they have both started their training camps, they clearly know what date they are working towards. Now, I believe this will be after the Euros, so July, and I mean Eddie Hearn has even explained that July is going to be the date now. Previously it was supposed to be June, but with the Euros and other things as well, it means it has been pushed back a month, which isn't too bad as long as the fight happens. Now, obviously with Tyson Fury, he has been skeptical as to whether this fight will happen, and his father as well, John Fury. John Fury even said that he would take Anthony Joshua in a warm-up. He'll have that fight easily. Now, they keep saying the fight isn't going to happen, but then they say it's going to be easy when it does. They will take Anthony Joshua as a warm-up. Clearly they do not believe this. They do not believe that Anthony Joshua is a walkover. Otherwise, why would they want to fight him? Because they say that they want to fight the top fighters, the number ones. I mean, they thought Deontay Wilder was it, but he wasn't really. Anthony Joshua is the one who's up there with Tyson Fury, and they need to compete with him to be considered number one. So they know what they are getting in the ring with when they finally get in there with AJ. And if they don't, then they are in for a big shock because they do not want to underestimate Anthony Joshua, and they won't, of course. They are saying this because this is what they always say. I mean, it's just mind games. They say, okay, come on, make the fight happen, and when you do, we'll take Anthony Joshua as a warm-up. That is the angle from Tyson Fury and John Fury. It is interesting though, we spoke about it in the comments as well. We spoke about the fact that Eddie Hearn seems to be doing a lot of the work, the going around looking at territories to secure a site deal for this fight. Now, that of course could be down to the fact that Bob Arum isn't really going to be travelling at this stage, considering he is in his late 80s. Frank Warren as well, he's younger, but still, he was getting over an illness quite recently, so they're not going to be doing the travelling. Eddie Hearn is the one that's going to do that, and that is probably why. But Anthony Joshua's team, Eddie Hearn included, seem to be doing a lot of the work. Now, of course, that could be just because Eddie Hearn is the one who talks about it more than the other guys. We have to look at that as well. But I do believe that Eddie Hearn is putting in a lot of work to secure this fight. Now, he did put Wembley back on the table, that this fight could happen in the UK. Now, I don't necessarily believe that's just down to the fact that they could get the money or they could get the fans. Obviously, that is a big factor as well. In fact, that is the only factor. If they cannot get 90,000 fans, they're not doing it at Wembley. But other territories said they would rather take the fight later in the year, so that does kind of bring Wembley into the fold. That is a definite possibility, because if those other territories would rather have it later in the year, then they can have the rematch, and the first one would be at Wembley. They could of course spin it where they do the first one in the Middle East or somewhere like that, then do the second one at Wembley. That is of course a possibility, but considering what the Far East have explained about taking the fight later in the year, or what Eddie Hearn explained about that, that means that it's more likely, if it is going to happen in the UK, that the first one would be in the UK. And I mean, that's pretty exciting, but still, as long as the fight happens, it doesn't really matter where they take it. Aside from America, I'm not really keen on them taking it to America. I've said this before in previous videos. We need it 9 or 10 o'clock at prime time at UK. That is very important to making this fight happen because, as I said, 2 Brits for undisputed. So we want it prime time at UK. And maybe we do have to realise that it has to go somewhere else. Maybe not the UK for that to happen, which I'm happy with, I'm fine with. I don't know about you guys. If you're not, make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below. But anyway, Tyson Fury is getting ready, so is Anthony Joshua. They are clearly working towards a date. They know more than what we do, of course they do. And I would imagine by now, things are starting to fall into line, fall into place. Eddie Hearn would know what is the number one candidate to stage this fight. He knows that by now because earlier in the week he was going around looking at different places to stage this fight. I mean, we got to see Anthony Joshua take a picture with David Beckham in Miami. So that did raise a few questions that, is he over there maybe to look at places for undisputed, or is he just taking a break and going over there to promote? Inter Miami, which is obviously David Beckham's football club. I believe that's the case. I don't believe that Anthony Joshua was the one taking it upon himself to travel to the US to look for a site deal or to look for somewhere to stage this fight, maybe Inter Miami. I don't believe that was the case, so I don't think we can look too much into that and believe that because that happened, the fight could be going to the US because Eddie Hearn is the one looking for the place to stage the fight, not Anthony Joshua. Now, given we're talking about Tyson Fury's sparring and his training and preparations for AJ, I'm interested to see what his training setup is. Is Andy Lee going to coach him and then Sugar Hill come in later? Because Sugar Hill did go home to the US, so if they have both started their training camps, then Tyson Fury is also training in the UK just as Anthony Joshua is. So I would like to know what his training setup is. We know that Joe Parker is also in that camp with Tyson Fury and Andy Lee as well, in preparation for Derek Chisora on May 1st. So I don't know whether Andy Lee is going to be the one head coaching Tyson Fury. I would not imagine that he would be, because he doesn't have the experience necessary for an undisputed fight between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. So Sugar Hill must still be involved. What capacity that is, we don't know at the moment. Will he be travelling over soon? I mean, as I'm saying this, he might be travelling now, and there might be a picture on Instagram of them both together. So Sugar Hill is obviously still a part of Tyson Fury's training team because he came over late last year to try and get Tyson Fury ready for a December fight, which never came off. So Sugar Hill went home because there was no fight to be made. And now obviously Tyson Fury is going back into training camp in preparation for this undisputed fight. So he does need his trainer there. Andy Lee is a great trainer. He's going to be very good, but he's not ready for this magnitude of fight just yet. So I would expect to see some adjustments here and there for Tyson Fury. Not big adjustments, obviously, just Sugar Hill coming over. I'm not believing that Tyson Fury is going to go to America to train. I believe he will stay in the UK. It is better if the trainer does come to the fighter, especially if camp has already started, because that does disrupt the flow for Tyson Fury. So it's definitely better if Sugar Hill comes to Tyson Fury in the UK, because he was going to anyway late last year. And Tyson Fury going to America, like after he's just started his camp, I don't know if I would be happy with that if I was Tyson Fury. So I wouldn't see that happening at this stage. And he has a good setup in the UK as well. He has Joe Parker in camp and some others as well. And he's being trained by Andy Lee at the moment alongside Joseph Parker. So there is a good setup for Tyson Fury. I think that a big thing for Tyson Fury is morale as well. He can get the training done, he'll get the work done, but he needs to be in the right place mentally. I believe that he is, considering he has those around him that are very important, and that is Andy Lee. Joe Parker is a good friend as well. I believe he's also got Isaac Lowe, and Ty Mitchell is who he was sparring in the footage, so he has those around him that will ensure that he has a good, successful training camp, because as I said, morale is a big thing for Tyson Fury. Whereas AJ has a good setup, he always has, and he trains primarily in the UK anyway, aside from 5 or 6 weeks in Miami when he was preparing for Andy Ruiz Jr. So he trains mostly in the UK anyway, so things aren't going to be that much different. Obviously, sparring partners, getting them in might be a little bit more difficult due to restrictions and things like that, although things are easing in the UK, so that should become easier as time goes on. But guys, anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below. Also leave a like and grab that subscribe button. Thanks guys.